Good morning, everyone. Virgo Triad here. It is January 10th, 2019. Happy Thursday to everyone. And let's get right into this. Let's talk about Winston Shroud. Let's talk about the misinformation and the lies that are going on amongst these channels that are trying to sell you these redemption theory packages and trying to feed you these sovereign citizen movement type arguments. For example, those arguments would be along the lines of your birth certificate is monetized, or your birth certificate is some form of a bond, that you do not need a license and insurance in order to drive. That there's a difference between driving and traveling. There is actually a difference between driving and traveling, but not what they tell you that it is. You absolutely, if you are behind the wheel of any kind of motor vehicle, driving along any of the state roads, you absolutely need a license and insurance. And they will also tell you things like statutes and codes are not laws. That is absolutely 100% false. They are laws. They're just laws that were passed by legislation. And they are policy laws that are unique to each individual state. These people will tell you that you are a slave to the government. They will tell you that you were sold at birth and your parents were fooled into signing you into a situation where you were considered a ward of the state. All 100% ridiculous conspiracy theories that have been proven false over and over and over again. And if you actually attempt to do some research on these financial schemes and these other schemes that they try to tell you in this group of individuals, which include Freemen on the Land, some of the 3%ers, constitutionalists, the Moorish nation, the sovereign citizen movement, and those people that go along with that, a lot of the white supremacist groups, a lot of these individuals gather together and they share this information, but they all spill it out to their audiences in different ways. Literally, it falls within the same actual umbrella, though, and that is part of this sovereign citizen movement that we've been discussing on this channel for well over a year and a half now. Let me get on with the Winston Shroud issue. There is misinformation that is being given to individuals on the prison sentence and the court hearings of Winston Shroud. What you are looking at right now is the official Winston Shroud YouTube channel. Now, that YouTube channel was opened up January 15th of 2013. He has relatively small amount of subscribers and a relatively small amount of views. You will notice here that there is only one link in his About section, and that is because he only had the one website at the time that this was opened, where you could visit information with regards to what it was that he was selling. Winston ended up taking people and scamming victims out of over $500,000 with his bogus packages and paperwork. You will see here that this website actually is one that has been removed. That was something that was demanded by the courts when he was actually going through the hearing. He actually got in trouble for continuing to try to force this misinformation to the public during his hearing over the period of 3 or 4 years. This took a long period of time to get the guilty verdict on Winston Shroud. And the reason why is because Winston had an attorney that is very well versed in criminal law. He's someone who has pulled out every stop in order to try to delay the inevitable on this. And the reason that we are actually discussing Winston is because of a situation that occurred back in November. And this situation was something that confused a lot of people. The Virgo Triad channel put out information about Winston Shrout's guilty verdict and that he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was found guilty on 13 counts of fraud, and many of those were for filing bogus paperwork through the IRS and the Treasury Department in A4V. Now, of course, people like April Lejeune and Druana Johnston did not like that I actually exposed that information, and as a result of that, started putting out false information. And I will give you kind of an indication here of what we're talking about. So what you're looking at right now is the support Facebook page for people who have been scammed and victimized by April Lejeune specifically. This video that you are looking at here is a YouTube video that's actually still up on April's channel. And you can see what was written here by the person who posted this was kind of a hoot. April believes that Winston Shrout received a quote-unquote reprieve from his sentencing. This is her show, and it starts where she begins to talk about Winston and the amended judgment. People ask this woman for legal advice, and it is clear she is the last person they should be asking. It is sad for the people who believe her. Eventually, those who have filed the paperwork will figure out that it won't do what she says it will do at all. And that is absolutely 100% true. April is actually pushing the exact same scam that Winston was prior to him getting caught, and it took years to catch him. And this is the reason why it is very important that April try to deflect from the truth about Winston Shrout's specific trial and how it went and what was done and what the sentencing is. And what she has attempted to do is try to make her followers believe that Winston Shrout actually had his case dismissed. And in reality, that is not actually what happened at all. So, in order to make sure that everyone understands what really is the case with Winston, we're going to go over here to Court Listener. Now, Court Listener is a website that is kind of like Pacer, only it doesn't cost you to take a look at an actual federal case that will provide you with the majority of the PDF documents that you would get and be able to print off of Pacer, only they charge you for it. It's considered a free law project and done by a 501c3 nonprofit organization. I encourage you to take a look at it if you have cases that you look up on a regular basis. The last update on this is December 31st, 2018. The judge is Robert Edward Jones, and I'm going to go ahead and take you through, and as you can see, this started in 2015. We are now in 2019, ladies and gentlemen, and this is still going on even though he's been found guilty and even though he already has a prison number in the prison sentence system. He is currently out on bail or bond, on bail. And at this point, we are looking at the reasons behind why he is still out on bail and not sitting in prison. However, the case was never dismissed. In order to keep this fairly short, I'm going to skip down here to line number 109 from April 21st of 2017, which is the jury verdict. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that PDF right now so that you guys can actually see that the jury verdict was guilty on all counts. Here's the verdict form and all of the guilties. Now, this is going to be in the description of this video. There's going to be a link so that way you guys can actually go in and take a look at every single one of these documents that have been filed by the court or by Winston's own attorneys, should you have the time and decide that you want to do that. If I did that, we would be here for hours and hours and hours. But as you can see, a guilty verdict absolutely was placed by the jury for every single one of the counts that he was charged on. At about line number 119, you guys will notice that there are these orders that are placed in by Judge Robert E. Jones that grant motions for a continuance on specific dates of sentencing because, as I said, Winston Shroud's attorney continued to make excuses for Winston in reasons behind why the sentencing had to be basically set aside for a few more weeks or a couple more months for reasons of health or for reasons of, some other issue that had come up. And he granted those things for several months because of the fact that we are looking at a man who is in his 70s and clearly has some not only mental issues, but apparently some physical health issues in addition. The judge continued to allow that to happen up to a point. Then we get to a point here in 2018 that I'm going to take you to where absolutely that was the end of the road. Sentencing was going to happen, and that was the end of it. Largely because number 148 here, you're going to see that there was a request for a competency report to be done, and he was found competent to stand trial. As a result of that, Judge Robert E. Jones decided this is the end of the line here. We are absolutely going to schedule the order. We're going to go ahead and schedule for you to come in and be sentenced. At that point, Winston was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his financial schemes and his tax evasion, and as a result of that was requested to be self-surrendering, meaning that he would need to come in and surrender himself on a specific date, and he was already out on bail, and as a result of that, they were waiting to get all of the prison information of where he needed to report to. In between there was some information on the indictment itself that was inaccurate and had to be replaced with accurate information. It was a clerical error, apparently, and that is actually the only thing that was dismissed. The real thing that was dismissed, not Winston himself. The indictment, in other words, you're not going to have in one specific case an indictment that is two indictments that read the same thing with just a couple of changes made to the wording in them. So one was dismissed and the other one was put in its place. That is the only thing that was dismissed. Winston Shroud has been found guilty and will serve 10 years in prison. We're going to go to the very bottom here and show you what is really happening. His case has not been dismissed. His case has been appealed, which is what any good criminal attorney would do with the appeal that they've got when someone that is their client has been found guilty. Since he was already out on bail and he is not a risk for, not a flight risk of any sort, they requested that Winston be allowed to stay out on bail until the Court of Appeals made a determination on his appeal. It also states here that he's already in the prison system and that he is to self-surrender. He was to self-surrender if he had not had the appeal, if they had not granted for him to allow the appeals court for him to wait until the appeals court actually heard the case. Surrender on January 7th of 2019 at no later than 2 p.m. And he was to surrender himself at the specific location of FCI Sheridan, and he is still required to self-surrender himself pending the appeal to FCI Sheridan on the first Monday following the denial from the appeal office. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever to believe that the Court of Appeals is going to overturn this. There is no reason to believe that this will be dismissed in any way, shape, or form. This was a financial scheme group of crimes, along with tax evasion crimes. He was proven guilty on all counts. He was proven there were witnesses to the actual crimes themselves. He stole over $500,000 from victims in a scam that is very similar to April LeJeune's scam, if not almost exactly the same. I mean, literally, it is ridiculously close. Druana Johnston runs the same kind of scam, but because it is very important for these people to attempt to try to make people believe that Winston's going to somehow get out of this, or he's going to somehow have his case dismissed because he filed a UCC1 or something of that sort, they will continue to give you false and misleading information that will make you question our own judicial system in terms of, obviously this person ripped off over $500,000 of people. He should pay for his crimes, even though he's a 70-year-old man now. And I think most people would logically agree with that. But again, we are talking about the lunatic fringe that is out there. So just so that everyone knows, so that this clarifies it for everyone, this order of motion to stay that was granted is only because he's already out on bail, not a flight risk, and because the Court of Appeals automatically gets the opportunity to decide whether or not he gets to stay out while they are looking it over for appeal. That is his right as an American citizen. So I hope this clears this up for people. Please make sure that you actually look at information that you're interested in finding out if someone is telling you the truth about it. If it sounds like it is the possibility of it being, way far out there, like a clear con artist here, Winston Shroud, ripping off $500,000 worth of victims' funds for false packages, and yet he filed a UCC1, so it's going to be dismissed, then look it up. You can read for yourself. You can download. Look, you can look at the order yourself. All you have to do is hit download PDF, and it actually brings up the order for you to take a look at and read for yourself directly from the court and signed by the judge. Don't take anyone's word for anything. You absolutely have to have verifiable proof in situations like this. Don't listen to a YouTube video of someone who is definitely sitting on the fringe and selling packages and attempting to try to persuade you into believing something that doesn't seem logical. All right, so if there's any questions on this, you're welcome to leave comments for me, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. I just wanted to clear this up for everyone. And I will continue to report on the Winston Shroud case until he is actually sitting in prison. Everybody have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.